So what level of IT experience are you expecting from employees and hotel operators today? Because Todd's talking about changing rates at a show. I don't think anyone expected that ever, I don't think. So what kind of experience are you expecting from, IT level experience are you expecting from your operators today?
I'll say it's when you some, but not to the degree what it used to be. And I think a large part of that is the user interface. You look at the product, SkyTouch is a great example. It is intuitive. You can put someone in front of it that doesn't have maybe the years of experience of some hoteliers, and they can understand how to create a reservation, check in a guest, check out a guest, look at a folio. And I think the more that user interface develops and becomes more intuitive as we develop, the easier it will be. But with everything now that is cloud-based, we don't, some organizations like ours, we don't have a very large IT department that sits off-site. We work with our technology partners. When we do have minor issues that arise, it allows us to navigate things much more efficiently than if all the technology was in-house. Right. So, but there is some, I think, level of technology acumen, if you will, that our GMs need to have. But as far as it once was, again, the products now that are coming out, whether it's SkyTouch or Whistle or even, some of the other products that we use on the accounting side, the user interfaces make it very easy for our operators to navigate.
I suspect that if you're in the tech field, you expected sort of a streamlining of known processes. But I don't know who was at the keynote yesterday, but they were speaking about just the level of technology experience is just going to rise. What's necessary. Joel, you're in charge of the next generation. What do you see?
So goodness, I'd say much less than it used to be. It makes me a little bit sad because I still like getting my hands dirty. When I did PMS installations, I still had to deal with physical interfaces, building little 9-pin connectors at properties. No longer, pretty much. We all have wireless networks ubiquitously. Goodness. In the 80s, it was guest centricity and a single point of information called the guest tile, I guess you'd call it. In the 90s, the CRS build-out. In the aughties, workflow-oriented PMS or CRS, where we know the type of user that's interacting with whatever software we're working with, let's build it around it. Today, I'd say mobile platforms is the new thing, so we don't need to get our hands dirty, perhaps beyond customization of business rules. I'd say your average operator, as long as you have a basic understanding of how each part of a hotel or a hotel brand or a chain works, you can figure out, I need to push this button or that button, but there's a lot less IT experience that is required of an operator, and we leave it to the IT security experts on the back end if there needs to be issues to be troubleshot between systems.
And I guess I would completely disagree.
Yeah?
I think if anything, it's changed what you need to know. So from an operating of the system, certainly they need to know less. Back in the days where we had Internet and you had to know command prompt and stuff to check somebody in, or even, heaven forbid, reg cards that were manually written by hand. I think that what is just so now you don't need to know command prompt. And I remember logistics and some of those old systems where you got really good when you knew all the secret shortcuts, right? You could stack the letters to get somebody checked in the fewest amount of steps. I just think that base has changed. I think, we've got wireless networks everywhere, they're ubiquitous, but they still have to run. And when that network goes down, particularly if you're in cloud-based systems, what do you have to do to roll back to a manual system? I've got a lot of owners and properties that refuse to let us push them to cloud for some key systems like PMS and point of sale because they're not in areas. They're in Byron, Mississippi, where they don't have good, stable internet on a regular basis. They're on, the dish. One of them's got a dish pointed out, for wireless data because they can't get fiber brought to the building and the cable modem sucks. I think what you have to know about, because we're taking IT expertise off an operator now, it used to be you had an accounting clerk that knew a little bit about IT. That was hotel IT forever. That's how I got into hotel IT. now that person's not there because accounting is now being handled centrally somewhere else. So there's not somebody with the acumen to do it. A GM now has to know what a data closet looks like. They have to understand what a patch panel is. They have to know the difference between a router and their Wi-Fi system and all this stuff. Technology is more prevalent in all of our hotels. I think that they just need to know different stuff. So it's no longer about being a keyboard monkey and taking care of stuff like that. But now even a base GM has to know a little bit about networking, and they have to know a little bit about how the different systems interoperate, how revenue management impacts CRS and impacts your PMS, and then why a rate, one of our partners in their system, they've got a rule that OTAs can't book after midnight central for same day arrivals. Well, I've got hotels in Alaska and Hawaii and even on the Pacific coast where we noticed reservations for the same day weren't coming in because one of our partners isn't taking that. Well, I need a GM that understands at least enough about the chain to find that the break is not in PMS per se, it's somewhere up the chain. So I disagree. I think they just need to know different stuff. I think we've got so many different systems, so many different interoperabilities that if you're not some level of technology expert, you're not going to be a good operator.
Well, Todd, so at SkyTouch, developing PMS and things of that nature, it's sort of your job to make it easy for operators. Does it reach a point where it doesn't make sense to make it any easier and they have to learn?
So I'll go back to kind of what everybody was saying, because I think I agreed with everybody in what you said. It needs to be easy. So, but I think about it in terms of market or brand, right? So in a mid-scale hotel or economy hotel, that general manager is going to wear every hat from housekeeping to technology to whatever it might be. So just right. There's a certain person at the hotel is going to have experience in a lot of different areas. The system itself, for SkyTouch, when we created it, we used to bring people in off the street, knew nothing about hotels, sat them down in front of the computer and said, check somebody in and check somebody out, find a guest, do this, do that. That's how we came up with kind of the user interface, and we've refreshed it over time and tried to continue to improve it to make it much and more easier for the hotel. Because at a resort level hotel, how many times you go to Vegas and you stand in line forever and somebody's back there behind the desk, keying away. Even some of the hotels here that are very much upscale are not really focusing on me, which in that type of a hotel, I think you would want to be more focused on your guest. Even, at the mid-scale hotels that we operate, we want to have them focused on the guests and not sitting there typing away and, being able to have a conversation with the consumer. All of the Choice franchisees expect it. I think all of our SkyTouch partners expect it. So being able to continue to enhance that. Now, how far do you go? We actually reached a point where you look at it and it is great and it's easy, I can walk up and use it, but if I'm an expert user, how do you make it faster for me, right? So being able to create ways in the system, hotkeys, wherever it might be, goes back to the old days, Jeff, is like how can I actually move a little bit faster? And so that concept's being built into the system too, along the way. So it's extremely important, but my personal view is, I always like to be focused on when I go into a hotel, regardless if I'm on corporate travel or leisure travel, and be able to talk to people at the front desk and not have their head down in the computer. So that's a goal for me.